So for my district profile assignment, I did my assignment on Claremont Unified School District. So Claremont Unified School District is located about 35 miles east of LA and is a community known for its strong commitment to education. The district boundaries include, which I didn't really know about this one, was obviously the city of Claremont, but also portions of Pomona and Laverne are considered Claremont Unified. Their mission statement is that each student is equipped academically, prepared socially, and empowered to participate and thrive in a challenging, diverse world. So really get them ready for the real world after high school and in their careers as adults. Their vision statement is each Claremont student is recognized and valued and inspired to be a lifelong learner and prepared to be a contributing member of our global society. So again, going back to that, preparing them for the real world after high school. So that is a picture that says welcome to Claremont. Claremont is, their schools are mainly around businesses, so like shops or restaurants or local businesses, as well as it's around many neighborhoods. So amongst the neighborhoods you would see many of the schools. Some defining characteristics. So at Claremont Unified, there's a diverse student population. So there are actually 7 elementary schools total, 1 middle school, which I was pretty surprised about, and 1 day school, as well as 2 high schools. And what was interesting, so there's the main high school, which is Claremont High School, but there's also San Antonio High School. And I thought this was a pretty cool school. It's an early college partnership with Citrus College in Glendora, and students earn both high school and college credit. So what was cool is San Antonio High School has 85 students total. They do an online blended learning, so they do some online learning and then some in-class learning. Also at this school they have 1-to-1 iPads, which was pretty cool, and they also are all about project-based learning. So demographics. So in Claremont Unified, looking at the statistics for English language learners, you have Spanish, so 53.48%, Mandarin 15.3%, Arabic 9.3%, Korean 6.3%, Vietnamese 6.3%, and then other 11.7%. So those are the demographics for English language learners in Claremont Unified, and there are quite a bit of English language learners, which is why they are all about helping these English language learners, and we're going to talk more about that later on in the slides. Grades, so they accommodate for TK all the way to 12th grade, and right now I believe for this school year or last year, there's a total of 6,935 students between all of the schools in Claremont Unified. So some of the ethnicities, 42% Hispanic, 33% white, 10% Asian, 5% African American, and 10% other. And those are the demographics in Claremont Unified. Some financial trends. So in the left, where it says 2013-14, that was found on the website, and that was looking at that school year. And then also I found on a pamphlet for this school year, it showed their budget, which is screenshotted on the right side. And so looking at these, so looking at the 2013-14, so total revenue, 71,988. That's about 10,303 per student. For the next one, that was about, for total expenditures, that's about $10,693 per student. Instructional expenditure, that's about $5,107 per student. Student and staff support, that's about $957 per student. And then administration, that's about $1,329 per student. And operations and food services, that's about $1,797 per student. And that was how much it took to keep the district going in 2013-14, and that was looking at per student, so how much it was per student. And those are just some financial trends. Also looking at 2018-2019. So looking at Claremont Unified's strategic plans or their LCAP priorities, so the first one, which is highly qualified staff that support learning and have access to standard aligned materials. So the action, so how they would go about that is definitely interviewing teachers with appropriate credentials, maintaining class size reduction, having professional development days for teachers, and have additional services to maintain restrooms during the school day at Claremont High School is actually one of them under their actions column. The second one, so build capacity and certificated staff by professional development and planning time. So definitely having those professional development days throughout the school year, having learning conferences, and providing days for teachers to have that collaboration time with their grade level meetings and whatnot. The next one, staff members having the curriculum and materials. So purchasing additional materials aligned with state standards, purchase supplemental materials for English language learners, and providing copies of textbooks and dictionaries in other languages. The next one, providing parents with multiple options for decision making and meaningful participation in school activities. So having meetings to inform and explain about volunteering parents, having parent info nights regarding English language for the English language learners' parents as well as the other parents. Also, newsletters, councils, seminars, parent involvement at functions. The last one on this slide, all students will progress annually in core academic subjects to prepare them for college and future careers. Definitely benchmarks and additional assessments, as well as homework and offering tutoring. Finishing up these LCAP priorities, schools will implement strategies, programs, support mechanisms, and activities. So how they would do that would be staff, student, and community surveys, staff training on promoting positive relationships with students and counseling services, as well as health services, psychological assessment, and definitely monitoring students' absences. Also, Claremont will continue to maintain high attendance rates and low dropout rates and graduation rates. And by doing that, they would have an attendance incentive program and also providing additional graduation opportunities. The next one, providing students and community with a positive physical and emotional environment. Definitely having parent education opportunities on social media, so like internet safety education. Also implementing anti-bullying programs, as well as staff training on mental health issues, behavior coaching, and Claremont is really all about PBIS as well. So the next one, ensuring students have access to a rich, broad course of study, including visual and performing arts. So offering world languages, access to career tech courses, and definitely that introduction to music that happens in elementary school. Last one, qualitative metrics along with various assessment data. So the SAT and ACT encouragement, as also students receiving D's and F will be tracked and monitored to help them get on the right track to success. So some achievements. So I found these on their district website as well as using the statistics websites. Some great things was they were awarded the Silver PBIS Schools Award. So on behalf of the positive behavioral interventions and supports, they were pleased to recognize Claremont High School and three of their elementary schools for successful PBIS implementation at the silver level, which is awesome. Their graduation rate was really high, and I was pretty surprised about that. It was 96.1%. Their attendance rate was also 96.1%. And both of those were in those LCAPs and their priorities and how they would make that happen. Also, those were some of their California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress results. And so those were some of Claremont's achievements. Some recent changes was technology integration. So many of them are now Apple Distinguished Schools. Also, they have individualized iPad for every student in grades only 3 through 6, alternative education, and then 9 through 12 Avid, and then English learner newcomers. They also have shared iPad in every secondary English language arts classroom and various other classrooms. There are also some other recent changes that we're going to talk about later on with the interview. So, my interview with a teacher. So, when I spoke with her, I asked her what she taught, and she teaches science for essential skills or neurodiverse children, as well as 2 periods of moderate and severe. How do you like working for Claremont? She said she really enjoyed working there and that it's a great district to be at. But she was also able to answer some of the other questions to give you guys a better idea of how one teacher's opinion feels about the district. So, what are some of the strengths the district has? Definitely, she said that there are incredible teachers at all levels. The district is small, so you get to really build relationships and get to know each other. She also said that they have a great alternative education and they help get through to those students that are struggling and get them on the graduation track. And they have a high graduation track and rate, as we know. Weaknesses, she did say that the district sometimes tends to rely on past practices instead of, coming up with new decisions or choices. Some recent changes, she said that in California in general, they're having a new sex education health curriculum that is a little bit controversial right now, especially in these smaller districts that have relied on past practices, and it's a little bit controversial right now, so that's definitely a recent change. Also, an awesome recent change was iPad training teachers. So they're training the teachers on iPads so they can get iPad cards. Some changes she would like to see would really getting those struggling kids to the diploma track, and she really thinks that ROP classes should come back, especially in the high schools, for kids who are non-college bound. Some recommendations she has for her district would definitely be ROP classes, really for those non-college bound kids, as well as remember and thinking of all students. So, looking at the strengths, I used the information I found for my presentation as well as the interview with the teacher. So some strengths, again, incredible teachers at all levels. It's a small district, so you really get to build those relationships. A high graduation rate, which is 96.1%. Definitely technology is being introduced into this district, which is great. Again, that Apple Distinguished School and iPads in some classroom, as well as that recent change of iPad training for teachers. The PBIS, which is awesome, as well as having San Antonio High School, which is definitely a high school that you're earning college credit and high school credit at the same time, as well as their LCAP goals, which is but particularly the one where staff members have the curriculum, materials, and technology for effective implementation is awesome. Some weaknesses, I couldn't come up with a whole lot of weaknesses, but I looked at my notes in her interview, and definitely I noticed that there are not enough iPads for all classrooms and students, but maybe that will change with that recent change of iPad training and iPad carts. Also, focusing on past practices, it's not always the best thing, especially in education, because it is ever changing. And only one middle school exists, so I think if possible, later down the road, having another middle school would help as well. Some recommendations, so one-to-one technology tools for all students in classrooms. I think that would be so beneficial. I think ROP classes to come back for non-college bound students. I know it's important to try and get every student on the college track, but for those children that you can tell that they might not be able to get to go to college, definitely having those classes would benefit them. Also, remembering and thinking of all students, not just one student or one type of students, because we know that all students learn differently. Definitely another middle school would be great. Also focusing on the present and always staying innovative, especially in this education system, because it is ever changing, and continuing to build social emotional learning and curriculum, which is great because they do start out with the PBIS. And that's some things about Claremont Unified School District. Thanks for listening.